Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. In today's episode, I talk to my good friend, Mr. Nicholas Belsten. Nick currently studies computer science at the University of Edinburgh. We begin by catching up a little, talking about each other's current situations, how it's like to be in the UK during the pandemic. Nick tells me a lot about his computer science course in Edinburgh, and we go a bit into future plans, whether it's studying masters, doing research, or going into a career. We then spend a bit of time talking about Nick's left-leaning political perspectives and the idea of liberalism in the society, talking about whether it's possible to be too liberal with an idea. Then at the end, we talk a bit about fitness, lifestyle, health, Nick's goal to lose weight and how he has gone about achieving that. All in all, I think a very chill conversation, and most of it is just catching up. If you guys stick around to watch all of it, I really appreciate it. And again, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you can. All right, without further ado, Mr. Nicholas Belsten. Still seems like the situation hasn't been going so well in the UK from what I can see.
No, I mean it's better here. I mean it was more so that because obviously with Qatar before they now announced they're changing it, but before you weren't able to come in if you're a foreigner and stuff, and he basically he couldn't come to the UK on holiday because his work was well, if you can't come back, that's a lot some of the stuff he can't do remotely, so that would be a problem.
But now he can come back to Doha.
Well, obviously, yeah. So basically, because they said, from September, whenever they can, and now they've changed it again, so you can come back from even August if you stay at home for 2 weeks. I think it is.
I heard it was 1 week.
Was it 1 week? I don't know. It could always change,
Yeah. But that was just the main sticking point for the company, right? He had to be able to
because obviously he has to book the holidays with them, get approved or whatever. So it was basically if he can come back or not. So that's why because normally he'll come back early July or whatever, and then say to August or mid-August, late August, or do something like that. But then and he hasn't had a holiday for a while, so there was that. But then because of the whole COVID thing, there was uncertainty of whether you'd be able to come back into the country, basically.
But so he just got out as soon as he could, I guess.
Yeah, basically, as soon as he was allowed, as soon as before they changed the whole thing to August, and they said, you can come back from September without hotel quarantine. He booked his holidays accordingly because, before they were saying you can come back before, but you have to quarantine the hotel that you have to pay for. Yeah. And the thing is, he would have to use his holidays up for that. And he's there's no point. Paying money and staying in a hotel for 2 weeks in Qatar and just not doing anything.
How long is he planning to stay in the UK then?
I think it's late, just past mid-September, kind of around the 20th or something like that.
Okay. So that's still a good amount of time. That's still technically what he would have spent before.
Yeah. Annoying for me, selfishly, because I want to go to Qatar, but obviously uni's starting, so I don't know about that. But no, obviously it's I'm not going to say I want to go back early.
It's Dad, stay there.
Don't have your holiday. Yeah, no.
Wait, just to brief me on your situation. Is everyone back in the UK except your dad now?
No, my dad is back, so he just got back. So
no, I mean is everyone's based in the UK? I mean.
Oh no, sorry. My mom is still based in Qatar, but she came back in March because she was worried that because she works at the desk and she would the school closed or whatever. She was worried she wouldn't be able to get back to the UK to see her family or whatever. Her mom's quite old and stuff, and she was she's worried she won't be able to get out, so she left in March and then was planning to come back in May or June back to Qatar and then go back again in the summer. But then obviously the whole thing happened, you couldn't, so she's just been here since then, basically.
Okay,
but brother obviously works in the UK, lives in the UK, so.
But she's with your dad in the UK, and you and your brother in the she's with your dad in Qatar.
Yes.
Qatar.
Normally,
and you're with your brother in the UK.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't live with him, but obviously, he lives in the UK. Yeah.
And generally, you'd go back to Qatar over the summer. I don't know. Well, no. I guess they would come back to the UK.
Yeah. Well, last summer I went back to Qatar because for like a month or two, like a month and a half. My mom went back to the UK early, but I stayed with my dad basically in Qatar for a bit. Saw friends and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. I was like, why would you want to go back to Qatar?
Well, I mean, like, obviously, I spent my whole life growing up there, so like, I somewhat of an attachment. I've got pets there as well. My cats and my rabbit before he died last Christmas.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. He was old. He lived a happy life. But yeah, no. So for all my pets and like, I like the food. I like the the country. I guess. Obviously, it's not the most exciting place, but like, I still like to go back and.
That's.
Yeah.
I mean, like. Yeah. Go on.
So sorry. Obviously, I have friends at university here, obviously, but like when I come back, I would just be here in England. I don't really have friends like outside of university in the UK, really. Obviously, unless apart from ones like that occasionally seen from school in Qatar. So like, other than seeing family, like I may as well see my friends in Qatar. You see what I mean? Spend some time with them when I can, while I can.
Well, that seems a very. It depends on that time because kind of people have to be in Qatar at the same time.
That's true. Like I was when was it? Last year, so a year ago. Like I wouldn't have stayed in Qatar as long. Like I was originally planning to go back earlier. It's like I had a few friends like Pranav and Arman and stuff, and some others. And like if I wasn't able to see them, I would have gone back to the UK probably a bit earlier. If I didn't have like at least a handful of friends like just do stuff with, because at that point, yeah, I may as well go back to UK. But I don't know. That's just my thought process.
That's quite interesting because like a lot of the people, the people that we know that I've talked to, it seems like, and I think I fall into this category as well, where like after they leave Qatar, I guess the only thing that holds them there really is the friends that are there. But once you take the friends away, which inevitably does happen because everyone's in university everywhere else. Like there's less of a reason to be there. I mean, other than parents usually.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, and like that's a big, family and friends is like probably the biggest thing. But I mean, like I like the country in general. I guess. I mean, I guess I'm slightly different from some other people. I've spoken to as well who just.
I'd say most people.
Most people. We really don't care much.
Why do you like the country? Because I'm interested in this because like obviously it's like.
Okay.
Wait. Let me just finish my question first.
Sorry.
It's like I'm interested that you would call it. I don't know. Would you call it home? Because like a lot of people like never really see it. It never like goes into their mind and like process it as home.
It's interesting. I mean, like I guess I would because I lived my entire life before uni there. Maybe less so now that I live in the UK. I mean, like I guess I would come to UK fairly often, but like I never went to school in the UK. I always lived in Qatar, grew up. Whereas most people, almost like I know very, very few people who like were still in Qatar, like who I knew from when I was like small, who were Qatar like the whole way through, like to basically before university. In fact, I think I knew a few who were a couple who were there up until sixth form. I don't know anyone. I'm trying to think who. I know a couple people who had lived there, but not ones I had known personally from when I was a kid. But like who were there from being like a baby to adulthood. But like that's about it. Most people lived in another country and then moved to Qatar, moved away, or whatever. So I guess people have that different. In general, people have, like stay for a few years only and then leave or whatever. On average, I'd say.
Were you born in Qatar?
No, my birthday's in July. It was a few weeks ago. So I because my parents come back every summer anyway, they were here in the UK. Like my parents had already been living there for 4 years, I want to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they'd already been living in Qatar 4 years, but they were in the UK when I was born. So,
Okay.
yeah, basically, I was like, so I was born here, and then, because I'm in the UK now, obviously, and then when I was like 6, 7 weeks old, my parents went back to Qatar, school starting up for my brother and stuff again, September. So, I went back. Yeah.
So it is actually like you've been there your whole life, basically. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess other than summers where you go back to the UK, which is the same story for most people.
Yeah, and Christmas.
And Christmas.
That's Christmases, yeah.
But yeah, back to my question. It's interesting that I mean, I don't know how much you can attribute time to it because like I did stay in Malaysia for 3 years and then I went back to Qatar.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, it is an integral part of me that I can't take away. But I don't know. To call it home that's quite a stretch. Well, it's not a stretch, but it's not something that I would necessarily do.
From Malaysia?
I think what I've realized in having grown up in a country that's not my own, it's not really the place that matters to me. It's like it's where my siblings are. It's what my family is. That feels like home to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Sorry, like it's important to be where your family is.
Yeah, that's one of the things. It's like you don't really get attached to a place as much as to the people that you make memories with and you make share experiences with.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I've been considering like my options after uni where I'm gonna live, and I'm thinking maybe the UK, maybe not. I might pick a different country abroad and apply for jobs there. And obviously, I won't know anyone there, which is a big scary thing for me. But like, the time hasn't come yet. But that's the thing. Thinking, well, if I can keep in, technology nowadays, keep in contact remotely, would it be a big thing moving abroad? Where there's no family and stuff. And I feel like I wouldn't be against doing it.
Yeah.
No.
But before we go there, I just want to go back to my question: is what is it that you like about Doha?
Yeah. Sorry for digressing.
No, don't worry.
I don't know really. I mean, one thing is probably the weather. Despite
Whoa! I've never heard anyone say that.
No, stick with me. Like, I don't know what it is with me, but my body, like, genetically being, European
White.
from like a country, white, right? It should be. My body can't handle the cold. Like, just going to Edinburgh, like living in Scotland, I realized like, just like, other people notice it as well because I'd be like, isn't it really cold here? And they're like, well, I guess it's a little bit. And like, I'll touch them, they'll be warm, and then like I'll be cold to touch, and they just be like, why are you like
do you have a soul?
Yeah, literally, like my body like gets cold really easily, and like I mean, talking to this like to my parents before, and they're saying like, yeah, you were always kind of like that, more like like get cold easily, and like I'd always have like during the day, like if my mum would come into my room for whatever reason, she'd say like it's really hot in here, you turn the AC up, and I'm like, no, it's fine, right? And it's just like in general, I feel like I would rather live in a hotter country than a colder one, or like in a hotter environment, because I mean, I'm saying this it's a little bit too hot in here right now, but I don't know. I just like, I mean, I love Scotland and stuff, but just during the winter, it gets a little bit harsh for me. When it's windy and cold, I prefer hotter weather.
I think. Go on.
Sorry. No, obviously Qatar, you have ACs and stuff, which is also another thing, I guess. It's climate controlled inside. But even so, like, I didn't really spend too much time outside in Qatar, like, during the hotter weather, before. But, like, since I've been visiting or whatever, last summer I went sailing for the first time in ages and stuff. And I've been on, like, dhows and stuff as well. Just out during the summer, and like, even though it's like 40 degrees, yeah, it's pretty damn hot, but like, I don't think it's like unbearable for me. Like, that's something I realized. I'm like, like I can handle this, and like, when it's 30 degrees or something, I think it's nice being outside.
Don't you get sunburned?
Oh yeah, I got sunburned with that. I have to be careful with sun cream. Yeah, like, like if you spend with my skin, it's weird. My skin's very pale, so it's really weird. Like like it hotter. Like I have to be careful about that. I burn fairly easily.
And is it like a painful burn?
Yeah. So I a couple of years ago I went on like a boat in Qatar with some friends, and like I applied sun cream twice, which wasn't enough, and like my skin for weeks was like peeling. Like it was not comfortable. Like even like going in the shower, it would hurt because the water just on your burnt skin. Just I guess that's just it is what it is. I can't really help it much.
Well, that's really interesting. It's like most people I've heard they seem to prefer colder countries, and I think I put myself in that group as well. But
wow, that's a weird view as well, coming from Malaysia. Like
yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's a thing where you don't want to be where you don't want to fall into this stereotype of where you came from.
Yeah, it's subconsciously like it's me. Your subconscious is just like no, I want to be different. I want to from the norm of like where you come.
Yeah. I think everyone has a part of that in them, but
that's true.
But it's funny because most people in the Middle East don't really go out that much, which is why most people have a vitamin D deficiency, which is really funny to me.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Like if you like to people like in the like occasionally talk to people in the UK, they think you get tanned or whatever going out there, and I'm like actually a lot of people have a lot of vitamin D deficiency because people don't go outside because it's hot.
It's like there's a difference between getting tanned and getting burnt to a crisp.
Yeah. Especially when you're paler. Yeah.
So you are thinking of you're not sure yet of when where you want to go after your degree. Wait, just to be clear, are you gonna finish? Well, I guess in Scotland it's 4 years, isn't it, to get a bachelor's?
I did a direct entry. So, because I did A-level computer science, they stopped doing it now apparently, but you could apply to skip first year, basically, and like most of the first year content is what you do in A-level anyway. There were a couple things I missed, but like were easy to sort of catch up on, and so next year is my final year, my bachelor's, but I don't know if you're going to ask, am I going to be done then? I'm going to apply for a master's.
In computer science.
Yeah, I was thinking recently. I've been thinking maybe like financial computer science, kind of, as like financial tech. Maybe I've also considered other things. What I'm thinking is like if I get into Edinburgh, I'd probably stay there for my master's unless I go on to Oxbridge. Which it's possible. It's not. I'm not banking on it. But if it did happen, I would consider, obviously, because that's a big thing, going there for my master's.
This is something I've been thinking about as well because I will be finishing my bachelor's around the same time as you are. I think I'm probably going to continue with a master's as well. But financial computer science, that seems interesting. What sort of things does that include?
Well, from what I've seen is like you do like the normal computer science modules, and like you get to pick them when you do a master's. I mean, it depends, what you want to do. I mean, the ones I've been looking at, you can do machine learning or whatever, and then you do. It depends on the degree. The one Edinburgh does, which is like I think it's called Advanced Technology for It's something called Advanced Technology for Financial, some computing, something like that. It's like a load of words. You do like a number of courses in the business school as well, and you can choose from a number of them. I need to look into it more, honestly. I mean, before the whole COVID thing, I was applying for an internship at a company called Optiva, and they do like finance stuff. Like they basically like I think they run like if I remember correctly like kind of like models and stuff on stock markets and stuff, and they kind of facilitate like the trade. Like through their services or whatever. Like you buy stocks and stuff, and it's kind of like you can work in their infrastructure back end and stuff, and that kind of degree would cover that as well. and then like the technology behind it that supports it, that kind of thing. I mean, it's not. I mean, I guess you have to be kind of interested in that stuff. Personally, the reason why I was thinking about it is I was looking at my job, like what kind of career path I want to go down after I graduate, and I was thinking finance might be one of the options because even though it's very competitive, if you do get a job, you earn a fair amount of money, and I guess I don't know, maybe I'm a materialistic person, but like I get people want to do stuff they really, really enjoy. But like as long as like I don't hate my job, if I can earn more money so that like I can support a nice lifestyle outside of work, I think I'll be happy. See what I mean? And like it's a good career path, I guess. That makes sense.
Have you ever thought about not doing a master's and just going straight into a career?
I haven't really thought too much about that. My brother suggested it to me once, and just funny because he did a physics master's, but he's like, oh, you don't need one. But I'm like, well, I kind of want to do one. I want to specialize in something, and it does help because nowadays, you know, lots of people are getting degrees, like lots of people going to university, obviously, and I mean, like for some jobs, like having a master's will give you an edge over a candidate that's a bachelor's. You know, if you're close in everything else, they're going to pick the one with the master's, maybe, right? So
that's the rationale I've heard of, a lot as well.
Yeah, and I enjoy university. Obviously, like enjoying university isn't like, I guess, the logical reason for, you know, financially the reason why you should want to do a master's, right? But
yeah,
I mean, this is like the, you know, the one chance in my life to go through university when I'm still young. Obviously, people can do degrees later, but you don't have the same lifestyle, are you?
Yeah.
You know, with friends and stuff. So
that's mirroring exactly what I've been thinking as well. It's like I want to do like I could go work but then go back to masters, but then it wouldn't be the same because I'll be older and I won't have, you know, the typical university lifestyle that people imagine.
The sort of like friendship with people, you know, you're all young adults or whatever and stuff. I mean, look, obviously, I imagine you can still have a good time with a mature student, but
it'll be different, I guess.
Exactly.
Like especially in the case that, you know, if you get married and then go back and study, that'll be like just completely different experience.
I mean, you can always do. There are options. You can do remote masters at a lot of universities.
What's that? You do it online?
Yeah, like I remember because obviously Mr. Mirren's a computer science teacher. He was doing, I was, you know, we were at DC, he was doing a cybersecurity master's at Edinburgh Napier. And basically some universities were offered to do it, like he did it over 2 years, so it's not full time, you know, he still works as a teacher. But in his spare time, he, you know, works on his degree and then he got his master's. I think he's meant to graduate this month, but I don't know. I imagine his graduation hasn't gone on, but like, I imagine he has his degree. And like that's also an option. You know, if you want to work, you can always work while you do your masters if you have the time.
Why did you pick Scotland in the first place?
Because it was the best university I got into.
What were the other options?
Well, I applied to Oxford, Imperial, Edinburgh, UCL, King's.
Wow, this is like the top 5 other than Cambridge.
Well, yeah, because you can only apply to one of Oxford or Cambridge. Unless you pick the top 5 for computer science. Other than, obviously, you can only pick Oxford or Cambridge. You can't do both because. And then, I only got offers from Edinburgh and King's. I mean, I'm a little bit salty about UCL, but like, I don't think I was going to go there anyway because at the time anyway, Edinburgh seemed like a better prospect. And I think it is. And also another thing is, I did computer science and physics, so. I mean, that was something I was struggling with before. I was always leaning more towards doing computer science, but I enjoy physics a lot as well. So like this way I get to do both. So
wait, so the title of your degree is computer science and physics?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like I enjoy it. And weirdly enough, it was the only one I applied for that was a bachelor's, not a master's. And it happened to be the one I went to. Like all the other ones I applied for were like a 4-year course. Like you get the master's at the end.
But then your master's is something you have to apply separately for, I'm guessing. Yeah, so it'll be under a different title.
Yeah, so I mean, like now, I mean, I don't know if it's any better or not, but like presumably I'll get into somewhere for a master's degree, and when I do that, I'll have the bachelor's and the master's.
How is Sorry,
no, I'll just say it'd be the same as if you when you do it, if you do it, I imagine, right?
How is the course split? Is it exactly 50%, 50-50 of the modules in terms of topics, or do they try to like make it integrated and related to each other?
So like actually, well, they're on different campuses. Informatics, which is computer science, had their school on Central Campus, and they're one of the few science or STEM schools that are on Central. And there's another. There are multiple campuses at Edinburgh, but like there's one place called King's Buildings, and that's where all the science ones are, and that's where physics is. So I actually go to both campuses, which is a real pain. Which I didn't know. I should have researched beforehand, but I mean, yeah. So in the first year, my split was 50-50-ish, I think, with my courses between the School of Physics and School of... Actually, no, that's not true. I did 2/3 of my courses with the School of Physics in the first year and 1/3 with computer science. But half my courses with the School of Physics were just maths anyway. So it's like in the first year, like even though more of it was with physics, it was more like a three-way split between maths, physics, and computer science. That kind of makes sense. And then this last year, I had like the first year, I didn't get any options really to choose anything. Like I literally went into my personal tutor meeting, like first meeting or whatever. It's like, right, this is normally difficult with like my tutees because they spend a lot of time deliberating over the courses. You don't get a choice because like you went on the thing saying like, because I do a joint degree, I have to do these courses, and because I did direct entry, where you don't do the first year, they made you do like basic algebra,
supplementary courses.
A course called Basic Algebra and Calculus, which is like basic 95% A-level maths, just to make sure you know how to do it. I learned like the only thing I can remember learning from that, like that was new, was L'Hopital's rule that I didn't do at school.
Oh, okay.
Like basically 95% of it was stuff I did already, which I mean like was fine, like
you learn to enjoy those like modules where you don't have to pay that much attention to.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, I was just like, well, and I mean like my first semester at uni was probably hardest, so it was a little bit nice to be a bit
hardest.
Easy. Yeah.
Was it because it was accompanying that was the transition into university life, or just hard in terms of content?
Part of it, both, and also because I did direct entry. With physics, the School of Physics, right? Again, I did basic algebra and calculus, right? That was only people did direct entry. So like we're all in a group together, like 20, 30 of us, all of them who do physics. I think I was the only one who did direct entry just in my degree that year. So like you're together and you get kind of put into a group, and then like, I'm most of my friends from physics I met through there, right? So that was fine. Computer science, they just kind of throw you into the lectures as if you're any other student who did the first year already. And I found that difficult. And there's a lot more coursework earlier in the first year, honestly, because the physics courses, like every course I did in physics, which was in the first semester, there were, sorry, let me think. I'm trying to think. I think I had 3 hand-ins a week to do, which are like problem sheets, basically, with like questions on them. And some of them were, they vary difficulty from fine to extremely difficult. And then I also had the basic algebra calculus tests. And in my computer science courses, I had coursework throughout the semester as well. And I was just kind of overwhelmed. And I found out later, because I was a student rep last year, right? I was sitting in a rep meeting. You have all the year's reps. And second year, so the year below, they were saying, computer systems, which is of course in the first semester, saying like, the students are complaining about like the coursework, it's too much or whatever, right? And the head of the school, Stuart Anderson, he was like, well, as you know, we changed it to a 20-credit course this year, so it's kind of funny how apparently it's still too much work. I'm like, what? So basically, I figured out, you do 120 credits in a year, right?
Yeah.
That course, when I did it, was 10 credits. They upped the credit count from 10 to 20 without changing the course, and the students were still complaining about the amount of content.
Wait, sorry. say that again. So they upped the number of credits.
Yeah, for that course, so it's worth 20 instead of 10, without changing the content at all.
So is that good or bad?
So basically, they were like, "Oh, this is too much content for 10 credits, so we'll double the amount it's worth from this year." And then the students were still complaining, "Yeah, this is too much for us."
Oh, all right.
Whereas I started, I was just like, "Oh my god, is this just university life? Is it this difficult?" And then like progressively, like the courses have become less hand-holding, I guess, like less like work you're expected to do throughout the semester in terms of like hand-ins and stuff. And I guess like they just have been easier in that way.
Yeah.
Like I've like this last year I have had hand-ins, but like less often. Like some of my courses were like, instead of being hand-in every week, it'll be like 2 or 3 hand-ins a semester, which is much nicer, right? And also I feel like, yeah, I mean, and I feel like because I got to pick my courses, I mean, I enjoyed most of my courses from the first year, but like one of them software engineering, which is kind of boring stuff, and it was just like bureaucracy about like how the structure of how companies work in terms of like they set out how they model their, you know, basically the model development model, you know, how they develop software or whatever, right? Which I mean, it sounds interesting, but like it's not really.
Sorry to cut you off, but like, how do you find the course in general? Is it like what you does it differ from what you expected it? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I expected, but I'm enjoying it a lot. And like I enjoyed it in the first year as well, but definitely more so in the last year when I got to like pick. I got all the options open to me then. Obviously, there's a few things you have to do, but I got to pick things I think, oh, this is really interesting.
What did you pick?
Okay, so I picked. I had to do. I did foreign analysis and statistics, which is maths. Applied machine learning. This is really bad. Principle, like I should remember this easily. Principles of quantum mechanics, thermal physics. So some of them like you have to like you get given like you have to pick. Some of them like the way it works is like you pick from any of these courses, and then some courses is like you pick this course or this course, and you have to do one of them, right? And then I did computer security, and I think that's it. I'm kind of trying to like put it out of my mind.
I quite like from what I've heard, the Scottish system is much more flexible in terms of allowing you to study what you want than the British system.
You heard that from the lab?
No, I heard that from books I've read.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I don't really have the comparison point because I've been to an English uni, but when I was even discussing with some friends yesterday, you know, who go, you know, to English unis or whatever, like showing all my courses, and I was basically like, there's no one course I have to take now. Like, it's like, you pick this course or this course. There's some like where like you either do like one course or one course that adds more on top. There's no like one course I had to take, and they're just like, what? How? You know?
So just to be clear, by course, it means a module, right?
Module.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. A course module, you know, interchangeable. All
right, go on. So there's no mandatory modules anymore. And there must be.
Well, there's like ones where you have to pick between one or two, right? But there's only a couple of those for computer science. Well, in the fourth year, and I don't know if it's all Scottish unis, but in Edinburgh, you like in every degree you do an honours project. I think every degree, and you basically do a project or something, and like so everyone has to do that. And I got the choice of doing one in computer science or physics. I'm doing one in computer science because then, I mean, I think I would have done one in computer science anyway, but like they forgot to tell me I could do one in physics, and like I just got an email like all over computer science students saying select your project. You know, so I'm doing that. So that's it. And then other than that, in computer science, I can pick any course that I want that's legible.
It has to be related to computer science, or does it not?
Well, I mean, like. I have to do at least. I'm looking at it now, actually.
It's on your desktop.
Can you see me? Can you see my desktop?
No. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I have to do at least, I think, 20 credits other than my honors project of computer science courses, or it might be 30. It's 30. Sorry. Yeah.
Bro, I'm jealous. Like as a chemical engineer, the first week, they were like, "Oh, by the way, first 3 years, you don't have a choice of what you study." And I'm like, "Oh God."
Oh no. Then you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying uni life?
I'm enjoying uni life. I don't know if I'm enjoying academics that much. It's just something that I've been able to do, but it's not something that I can comfortably say I am. I don't know.
You don't hate
say,
it, but it's not something you like super
Yeah.
passionate about.
Yeah, it's just like I'm doing it, and there's no. I mean, like what you said, there's no harm in like learning something so that it can make you money as long as you don't hate it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go on. That's all I had.
I'm just saying, like, my logic is like, as long as you don't hate what you're doing, like, it's, it might sound a bit like materialistic or whatever. I think it's fine to do something that will make you happy outside of work life.
That's
what I mean?
I wouldn't call it materialistic. It's just like a very pragmatic way to think about it. I think almost like I think guys find it easier to do something like that because we're like instilled with a sense of duty. So we can just like bear with it even if we don't like it that much. But that also kind of assumes that if you do go down that path, then you need to have values, something that you value outside of your career, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
What would that be for you? Like, okay, if you imagine yourself in the future working, okay, say, something in computer science, which I don't know, you seem like you're passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm fairly passionate about it. It's something I mean, I like computers, I guess, like, since I've been a kid, I've liked computers, right? It's not like, like, if I don't know. It's like I enjoyed acting at school, right? And it's like, dude, I'm not saying I was really good at it. I'd say I could do it. Right?
You seem like you're into it though. You're like enjoyed it.
And I was like, I get people who like, I ponder in my head people who want to be actors, right? And it's like, but to me, like, I'm like, yeah, that'd be a great career, right? It's literally like you're doing something you really enjoy and you're getting money for it, right? But then you look at the career prospects and you think, like, what are the chances I'm going to make it?
Yeah.
Very, very small. And like, I respect the people that I know who have gone into drama or whatever.
Harry Golby, shout out to you.
Yeah, exactly like that, right? But it's like, and like, obviously maybe I don't have as much passion as someone like Tim for it. I enjoyed it, but it's like, and it probably would be at the top of my list if like you could make it. But it's like, if you think about it, the chances are like, especially like, I don't think like I would be that likely to make it anywhere. And it's like, if you don't, then you're working very hard for not that much money. And like, it's a stressful lifestyle, I think, from what I've seen, and it's like, I can like, and it's like computer science is something I found I enjoy. And like, there are other things, I thought there's so many jobs I would feel like, I could see myself enjoying it, and it's like, as long as I pick something and like, I go to work and I think, I'm not dreading going to work and I think, get the work done. If I enjoy it, great. And, I get enough money to enjoy life outside of work, so, support myself and family. Hopefully I have one, right?
To that point, like I agree with you there. It's like, I admire the people that, are able to kind of take that fearful step into the unknown where it's like, you don't know whether it's not safe, basically, right? Acting as an example, it's difficult, it's not secure, you don't know what you're gonna do, and it's stressful most of the time. But yeah, I think there's also a part of it that you like, it's scary to have that sort of passion or to sink everything into that sort of passion, which is why I think most people kind of have that view of like, do something that you don't hate and let it make money so that you can do what you love.
Yeah, that's true. Whereas other people say, do what you love and as a job and you'll never work a day in your life. I agree with that to an extent. Like, if you really, really, really love something, like acting per se, you might find that like that lifestyle works great for you. You might not have much money, but like if you go to work every day and you're enjoying it, good for you. Like.
But
like personally for me, I think, yeah.
Sorry. But there has to be like a sort of like practicality aspect to it. Like okay, you love acting, but you gotta be open to maybe not actually working as an actor, maybe as a manager instead, or maybe it's just somewhere in the theater, something that can make you a living.
Well, I imagine like a lot of people who go into like want to go to acting might find out they have a knack for managing or whatever, or being a director or whatever, and they might think, okay, like I can do this, I enjoy it. I guess some people might be open to that. Some people might just be so determined, and then they'll keep trying till they succeed, and hopefully they will.
What would you do outside of your career?
Outside of my career?
Have you put any thought into it, like the things that you value outside of academics?
I like playing video games. No.
That's fine.
I know I do. No, but like, I guess I used to have more hobbies, I guess, like before. I feel like I would pick up things, once I have a job. I enjoy doing things like, I guess, scuba diving and like sailing. I thought about taking up again and stuff. And just little hobbies. I like trying things. And I didn't really get too involved with societies my first year at uni. I got a little bit more involved last year, and I'm getting more involved this year with like something called Model World Trade Organization. It's kind of like MUN.
Model what?
WTO. It's like
World Trade it's like MUN, Model MUN. But
yeah,
model. Okay.
I got like I considered doing it, and I got roped into it now, and like I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it. So
is it like MUN or just like?
Yeah, kind of. It's that's definitely the most similar thing, and it shares a lot of similarities. And and I'm thinking about doing a few other things. Maybe more semester 2 if it's not, inshallah, not we can do things, and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing outside of work, really. I feel like I just try and find hobbies and stuff. I'm passionate for something. It sounds really bad now I think about it, but like
this is what, like, once you like just practically sit down, like for me, I've been approaching it for a while, maybe for a year or so, where like, okay, maybe, it sounds bad, but maybe I don't value my degree that much in the sense that I can do it and I'm doing it with the proper amount of attention, but there are things outside of it that I'm actually like I can feel passionate about. So that's why like from then I've started to kind of develop these things that I know I'll be able to carry on, because if I have this sort of attitude even during my career, then I will need things that I can lean on. It has to, the work has to help sustain something outside of the work.
That's a good thing to think about. I think now I think about it, you don't want to get like trapped in a kind of cycle like, oh, I have to work, it's like, what are you working towards? That's an interesting point. I guess I didn't put too much thought into what I'll do. I feel like I've always thought like wherever I end up living or whatever, I'll find something to do. I'll enjoy.
So what other societies have you joined then, other than WTO?
So my first year I did a bit of gaming stuff, but I haven't really done too much of that since. I'm thinking about doing UTIC, which is like trading and investment club. Are
you actually like? Is this interesting to you? Like, for me, I don't know anything that goes on in the WTO, but like, is it interesting? Is it engaging?
Yeah, again, it's not something like I want to say. I feel like Model UN might be a bit more interesting, which sounds really bad when I say about it, but like I want to try something different. To do a lot of Model UN in school in DC. So it's interesting. It's all bureaucracy, right? But like, I feel like it's interesting to see. Like, I like looking at kind of like global politics, and this kind of comes into it. Even if it's just like trade deals and stuff, and like economic disputes and stuff like that. I think it's still interesting, like different countries, how they come together and stuff.
Well, it seems to be similar in that sense, the WTO, but more of a financial skew to most
Financial.
things.
I mean, like, I'm not actually like, honestly, like, part of the reason why I want to do it is I want to see if I like it. Is actually part of the reason why. So like, from the outside, it looks fairly interesting, but like, I want to see like, if I join these things, like, is it actually that interesting?
I reckon. Well, no, not I reckon. I encourage you to do things that are, people kind of like throw the mantra like, get involved, Mr. Proud.
Yeah.
Get involved in things that you're not. People always say like, find new experiences, but when you see what they do, it's like, no, you're not actually finding new experiences. You're just doing things that you've already done in the past. So I encourage you to do that.
All right, another thing I did last year, first semester, I did learning to row. I didn't actually get all my water sessions in the end, which is fortunate. But yeah, I mean, I got like one or two, but like, I mean, I was meant to get like one or two more, but like I messaged a guy and like I think it got to the end of the semester and I didn't make the team basically. So, but like that was fun, and it's just like, but it's not something, I enjoyed doing it, but it's something like I probably wouldn't commit to this. I enjoyed it, it's an experience. Yeah. But like that's like what you said. I feel like I like trying things to see if I enjoy them, and will I commit several years to this or more time to this? Maybe not. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But to go back to your where you've been thinking about going in the future, it sounds like you might be best off. I think we joked about this, but like best off being in Singapore.
No, that's actually like one of my top choices. Genuinely, Singapore, because
there's a better country right next to it.
Yeah. Malaysia. I mean, like, I wouldn't hate living in Malaysia. I think I don't know.
Have you been to Malaysia?
I have not been to Malaysia, but I've got a friend, Sasha, who lived there. Sasha.
Oh, never mind.
Funny story. So I went when I went to uni, obviously I got put in uni accommodation or whatever. I'm in a flat 6, and then like I meet all my flatmates or whatever, and I say I live in Qatar or whatever. Then like later I get a message from kind of asking like, is X your flatmate, Sasha? And then I'm like, yes. And it turns out like she didn't get the hint from me saying Qatar because she expected to say Doha, but she was best friends with Rakshana. Like best friends, like literally like
because Rakshana was in Malaysia as well.
Yes, yeah, and then like literally best friends, and she's like now like in the same we lived in the same flat.
It's just such a small world. The funny thing is like Rakshana was friends with one of my best friends in Malaysia as well.
Really?
Yeah, so she's the glue that actually ties everything together.
There you go. I mean, like again, it's I've had a few other small world moments like that. Like one time I was waiting at a bus stop, wearing my like Lever hoodie, DC Lever hoodie, before I lost it.
I gotta make a new one for you.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if I could get a new one. Yeah, and like some guy literally came past, like a random guy came past, like, oh, I went to Doha College, and like 15 years ago or something. I'm just like, cool, great. That's weird.
Where's your Lever hoodie?
Yeah, what's the Lever hoodie? It's just interesting. Like he said, he like left in 2006 or something. Like this guy was like,
in middle age.
Not quite middle age. Like 2006, it's not quite middle age. He left, but he was like late 20s or whatever. And I was like, man, that's really interesting,
Did you ask him his name?
I did not. I asked if he knew my brother because my brother was actually at DC before he left. Or, my brother would have been like starting out. But then I was in Sainsbury's, which was like 5 minutes or so away from my accommodation, right? And like I was at the self checkout, and one of the employees like saw my Lever hoodie and asked or whatever, and he asked if I like knew X, and I was like, yeah, I did. They went to Doha College because he saw DC Lever hoodie, and I find out it's this guy called Victor, and like a lot of like my friends, like like Georgia or whatever, like were like friends with him, And like, oh shit, it's Zach, so Victor, I love that guy or whatever. And like, he's just working in the Sainsbury's around the corner from me.
Oh.
And like, yeah, that's interesting,
I mean, it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
It's nice to have those kind of moments, but if you're like, you can always view it like statistically, the likelihood. I mean, it's still gonna be pretty low, but you gotta keep in mind.
It's gonna happen at some point, right?
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind that people from DC, like a lot of them are British, and they will go back to the UK, and they will usually be affluent, which means that they'll be in an affluent part of the country.
That's true, but like it's still kind of spooky,
Spooky,
like
very spooky.
Very spooky. Yeah.
You
had any moments like that?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head.
Sucks to be you.
Wow.
No,
Wow. Wait, I wanted to. How was the experience of making friends with you in uni? I'm asking this because like it's obviously interesting because we all are literally third culture kids, right? So we grow up in somewhere else.
Yeah, so
it's been interesting hearing people like, it seems like the common theme is that people kind of struggle at first.
Yeah, so I say I did in the first semester for like a number of reasons. Okay, first of all, like I made like friends in like again who do physics and stuff, and like obviously you came close like better friends like later on because as things went on, and I made friends with like flatmates and stuff in the first semester. But like in computer science, I know like a few people. I don't really know many, and that's because I did direct entry because you go into second year. They had freshers events for computer science that like I went to them, and like I met and I actually like really enjoyed meeting people in computer science, whatever. But they were all first year, right? And like I spoke to like a few of them like a couple times afterwards, but like we didn't share any of the same lectures or anything. So like I just didn't really see them around. Like obviously I haven't spoken to them since. So like I struggled in that aspect, and also like I didn't go out too much in my first semester because again I remember saying earlier about how the work was a lot. Like I was just like struggling quite a bit under. No, like I won't say like I was like a super amount, but like I was struggling a little bit under the workload. I'd say, right?
It's
so like
yeah.
It gave me less time and like also I don't know if it's a STEM thing, but I feel like STEM subjects you do have a lot more workload typically than non-STEM. I don't want to do like a broad generalization, but anecdotally from people I spoke to who've done non-STEM, they don't have nearly as much work as I had. Again, I'm not trying to say like any STEM subjects don't like non-STEM don't have any work or whatever, but that does seem to be a recurring theme that I've seen, right?
How do you go about making friends then, other than outside your computer science course, or are they mainly from your program?
Well, yeah, I got a bunch of physics, and like I met some through my flatmates, some friends through there, right? And yeah, I guess through that. Trying to think what else. Like, I have a few other friends as well from like other things like societies and stuff, or through literally just like again like branching out through people I met through my course, whatever. Like, oh, here's X person or whatever, if you hit off or whatever.
It's quite different than school because I've mentioned this before in a different episode because because in school you're basically incubated with people and like you're bound to make friends, whereas in uni it feels a lot different because sometimes it has to be much more deliberate and that you have to
be
actually
proactive.
Yeah, you have to be proactive and deliberate in the sense that you have to like I was in the same situation as you where I did exchange for my second year, so I attended freshers events with first year students. And it's
there you go,
yeah, it's not hard to. I mean, it's hard to keep in touch with them, and it takes a lot of effort, and they have to be willing to do that as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think a lot of people really need to kind of know that. Like sometimes the friends you make in uni are not going to be the same way that you made them in school, just because of the fact that you can see them once and then never see them
Yeah.
again.
Well, like everyone's in the same boat, but like some people are just naturally better equipped, I think, to handle that. Like some people just stick with it. Some people like I feel like I don't feel like some people easily not necessarily easily, but like some people make friends a lot easier than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying like I struggled a huge amount, right? But I guess like I realized I had to be like a little bit more proactive. Like it took me some time to realize that, I guess, and like I'm happy now, but I guess like I noticed some of my peers or whatever like seem to do it a lot easier than me, more readily, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like I'm a super introverted person.
I wouldn't say that either.
No, I would say I'm I wouldn't say like I'm super extroverted either. I'm like kind of down the middle in that sense. But like again, I can see like I feel like it might be a problem, and I feel like again that would be one thing, I guess. It'd be nice to like trying to get people easier, because again you have this like sudden independence in a sense, right?
Independence. I summon you.
Yeah, literally, right? Like it's like you're kind of thrown into this kind of thing, and it's like, well, it's all down to you now, right? Whereas before, like in school, I'm not saying you necessarily forced to do things, but you're kind of given like that little push, right, into doing things, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you have your parents right there as well and stuff, and like again, I guess because again you're incubated, like you said. Whereas like now, for a lot of people, like you're just thrown out, and they don't. I guess they struggle to adapt quickly.
Yeah.
And like I guess there could be a little bit more help with that at university. I don't know. Maybe.
In regards to your friends, do they? I don't know. What's the least racist way of saying this? Do they tend to skew towards being locals, or is it varied?
I say it's a good mix.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, actually, like now thinking about it, yeah, it's a good mix. Like, I have I guess I'm trying to think. I don't know the exact ratio.
Don't start like using your token indigenous people card. I have a token black person, token African person.
No, I'm not gonna list off like no. But I'm trying to think of the ratio, right, of like British to non-British. Probably slightly more international. Actually, I don't know. Maybe about 50-50 ish, like British to international.
Yeah.
So I guess
that tends to be the case, because like people don't realize it until they go back to their home countries, but you find out that you're actually more comfortable. I don't know if you're more comfortable, but you have this added level of familiarity and comfort with people that are international more because you grew up in that environment in the first place.
Yes, and also no, in that like most, like I know some people who I guess maybe it's hard for them because they are international and like I'm a host or whatever. But I know people who didn't grow up in an international environment probably have the same ratio as me, right?
Really?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like also you do see that like obviously the university has societies for people of whatever country you're from. Like if there's a big enough community of students from what country at the university, they will start a society for that, right? Say French society and Spanish society, right? Just as examples, right?
So you're saying you're gonna start a course that a society that's gonna be like white people that can't tolerate the cold society.
Yes, I'll champion that. Only white people allowed. That'd be great. No, let's maybe not like paint it with white people. Don't know if that'll get approved. But yeah, like I mean, I do know a couple people that like I guess most of their friends would actually be from their country. Now think about it, who come from like whatever country in Europe.
That's
and I guess it's down to the individual.
Tends to be the case. It's just simply what they're most comfortable with. I don't know whether it's specifically different in Edinburgh, but when I was in Birmingham, for example, it's like you find the Brits there. They didn't really mix all that much. They tended to like cluster around other British people.
Yeah. trying to think. I mean, like Edinburgh is quite a diverse place, but so is Birmingham.
So is Birmingham.
And yeah, I feel like you definitely probably do get students who like are British and just kind of stick with British. But like, I guess maybe I don't really have the best outlook because I say, I mix with international people, it gets more easily. I don't know if it's more easily because I grew up like that or whatever. But like personally, I don't feel that way. You know what I mean?
You get Chinese people that tend to stick with Chinese people.
I was going to mention that, like specifically. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, it tends to be like mainland Chinese people tend to stick together more, and like I guess that's because there's a lot of people who come from China or whatever, and I guess if they grew up in China or whatever, and it's like quite a big gap between I say like Chinese culture and like British culture or Western culture, right? Whereas,
really?
Like, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, nice. I realized that like after your facial expression changed after the yeah, but you see what I mean, right? Like, and like, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe other international, like if you're from Europe or like wherever, like not necessarily just Europe, like America, whatever, you mix in easier, and because they have like that option of like there's enough Chinese students, like you stick more. And I feel like maybe the university should make more of an effort. I don't know, but like again, is it their job to?
Yeah.
Like make sure like they everyone feels like I don't know, mixed better. Not saying it's necessarily a problem, right?
Yeah.
But it's just something I've observed, right?
Yeah.
And like again, I mean, I've had group projects where we get stuck, and like we've had a good mix of like people from like wherever, Britain, Malaysia, China, whatever.
Really? They're Malaysian people?
I feel like there was one in my group project. Yeah, like from last semester. Actually, I can't say that for sure, but like, there's definitely Malaysian people on my goals. Right?
You're right. Excuse me for changing the topic a little, but I kind of want to direct it more towards you because just like firstly, just let me finish my tirade. Not tirade. No, it's not a tirade. My monologue. Firstly, the first thing I noticed is like obviously you look a lot healthier than you did a couple of years ago.
Oh, thanks.
Also, just in the course of speaking to you for an hour, it seems like I don't know. I think on like no hard feelings or anything and nothing personal, but we kind of tended to think of you as a little bit of a scatterbrain back in DC, but just talking about just over the course of talking to you, you seem like a much more centered person. Like
how do you mean by scatterbrain though?
Like as in like hard to keep track on one topic of a conversation. Is that fair? Well, maybe scatterbrain is too hard, but it seems
no, I'm not like offended. I'm just trying to think. Like, I'm not sure because I never like really gotten that. No one's ever told me, right?
Maybe eclectic. Is that a better word? I don't know. All right, but whatever it is, the comparison now is that you seem much more. Whereas, like, okay, in to put it in an example, like I don't think I would have been able to have like this sort of conversation with you a couple of years ago.
2 years ago, I think it was definitely. I mean, like, maybe not when I was in like year 9 or something, but like, I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think when like I more matured in terms of like my worldview, I guess, or like my I don't know how you describe it, right? But, like
worldview is fine.
Sorry, what?
Worldview is fine.
Yeah, I guess worldview. I don't know when I did, but like I feel like
you feel like it has.
I feel like when someone offers the opportunity to, I'm always happy. I'm like always actually I'd say enthusiastic to discuss things with people. Okay. And I do it fairly often. I guess I discuss things fairly often, whatever topic, right?
Or maybe the fault is with me for not exploring that sort of avenue with you.
I don't know. I don't know for sure, right? Because it's not something I've considered, right? Mm-hmm. It's not something like I've ever noticed personally. But like I've always felt like I guess it's not something I've always considered, right? So like I don't know like if you tried in year 9 I would be able to sit down and have this conversation with you. I mean, but like I definitely feel like since sixth form I feel that might have been so year 11, year 12 is sort of when like I guess I'd say I matured in terms of my food.
Do you feel like that? Sorry to cut you off. Do you feel like there's much difference between your perspectives now and your perspectives in sixth form, or like the way your worldview, I guess, or your maturity level, or your hair?
My hair's a bit long now because
I think everyone's growing their hair.
Yeah, you know, I've had the chance to cut. My mom suggests I cut it. It's been so long as ever. Yeah, I should leave. I'm gonna leave it, but
don't do it and grow a beard.
I tried. I left like not shaving for a week and it just looked terrible. So I'm shaving at least every other day.
Gotta push through it, bro. At least get a goatee.
Dude, it looks nasty. No, it doesn't fit me. It's nasty. But
right, go.
No,
sorry.
On the point. I don't think so. I feel like it might have developed a little bit, but I feel like the foundations of like my current kind of perspective would definitely be acceptable. And that like I try and actually I remember feeling pretty similar in sixth form to what I do now in terms of my perspective, in that like I kind of, I'm not a fence sitter, but like I always try and look at both sides to things. And I feel like definitely like I've become a bit disillusioned with like, I don't say the general public, but people today in like the kind of little echo chambers that they surround themselves with people that think the same way and they refuse to like look at the flaws of their own points, right? Mm-hmm. And everything's so biased. Do you understand what I mean?
I do. What comes to your mind? Like what topics come to your mind when you mention this?
Well, politics. I'm a fairly left-leaning person, right? I would put myself firmly on the left, right? But like, just going online, both like people like they pick their newspaper, right, that conforms to their views. No matter if it's the Guardian or Daily Mail. Daily Mail's obviously worse. I mean, I don't know if you know UK newspapers, right? But
I know the Sun is shit. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, don't buy the Sun. Do not buy the Sun. Yeah, right. And it's like, people just pick something that like, and like some of the dribble that comes out of it is so obviously charged, and like, no matter if it's left or right, I feel like it might be more so on the right, but like again, that might be my own bias, right? And people just like read it and like eat it up or whatever, and like they just parrot the same kind of views over and over again, and like I guess actually one thing that definitely has developed in my perspective is that like nowadays, like my view on things is like, even if I don't agree with something personally, I feel like, and like I don't know if I can think of many examples really, because in general I'm quite accepting, right? But like as like a rule now, I think like I'm upset that other people don't apply this. If somebody believes something, right, or they adopt something, no matter if it's religion or like sexuality, whatever, like as long as they are not affecting anyone else like negatively, allow them to have it, right? This is why I don't like people bashing on religion, but I also don't like people who use their religion to try and like impose like laws or legislation on things, right? Both sides, right?
Even saying something like that is like, I think it's what you said is like, you can believe what you want as long as it, I'm paraphrasing, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you can believe what you want as long as it doesn't affect people negatively. Yes. This is something I've heard a lot, and it's like, there's so many ways you can just go about thinking about that. It's like, okay, hurt them in what sense? Emotionally, physically, mentally?
Okay, like it's not true. Okay, that's not like, that's a very basic way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you hold certain views, right, that I find reprehensible, I will still find them reprehensible, right? But I'm saying like I believe the very least you can do as a decent human being is like, if you know something, you're doing is hurting someone else and you're not gaining much from it, is keep it to yourself. You know, not keep it to yourself. You see what I mean, right? It's like,
not
okay,
really.
Okay, it's like, say people who think like homosexuality is sin, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you believe that, right? I find that personally, I don't agree with that. I find that, you know, against my own morals, right? Believing that. But like, I'm saying, like, I understand that like some people are gonna believe that, and I will try to change it. I'm saying the very least you can do is like, as a human being, like you trying to push that onto others. Why are you doing that when them being gay isn't personally affecting you, right? Like just the act of them being gay isn't affecting you, like personally, directly, right? You could like, and you being aggressive and negative towards them when they don't really want to affect you anyway. They aren't affecting you really that much. You just say they're affecting you because of your religion, like in certain ways or whatever, right? But they're perpetuating some ideology or something that you don't agree with. But to some extent, like there's definitely like a point with everything where you think like, just let them be. You know what I mean? In a way.
To play devil's advocate a little, like someone, okay, like it makes sense. Like, yes, like you know, someone being gay, it doesn't necessarily affect you, but someone could, like what you said, someone could just argue against that in the sense that it propagates this sort of society where you know you can do whatever you want, and that seems like, and that's with the implication that that's what we want society to be, where a place where anyone can do whatever they want. And then you can even say like, you know, and then this will affect my kids and maybe they'll turn out gay. So if you kind of view of it in if you view it in like a broader way, they can come to a point where it does harm them in a sense.
Yes, but I feel like you also have to look at the harm you're doing to the other person. Right?
What do you mean?
Well, it's like
the harm of not letting them do what they want.
You know, it's like I mean, obviously there's a spectrum of like how far your beliefs go, but if people had their way, they would outlaw it, right? And you feel like you're not letting someone be the person they truly think they are, right? In a way, in a sense, right?
This is
like yeah. I guess I mean like maybe I don't have that perspective because I don't
yeah.
I personally my philosophy is that they aren't affecting me, but I also feel like it's perfectly fine personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like again, at the very least you aren't affecting me. That's like and it's like I don't know, and it's like people who like, especially who bully gay people or whatever, or trans people, and it's like, and then like I often see like the excuse or whatever saying like, oh, you know, it's a mental sickness or whatever from people who are doing it, right?
From people
who are against it, right? Like
okay.
You know, say like people say like, you know, you shouldn't be promoting this as a mental sickness or whatever, and it's like, why if you truly think it's a mental sickness, why are you berating people that way? Like it doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Okay,
it's like I mean, like gender dysphoria is like a mental illness in a sense, scientific definition, right? And it's like, okay, if you're saying that, why are you like bullying these people? Why are you berating them if you truly believe that? You know, like you wouldn't. I'm not saying that like mentally ill, you can compare it to other illnesses, right? But like you wouldn't do it to anyone else, right? Who's mentally ill, and it's like, you know, a lot of people commit suicide or whatever because of bullying or whatever, and I feel like in general, like if you just like, again, I guess maybe you feel like it's harmful to society or whatever, but like I feel like it's more harmful to like just oppress these people and like tell them to repress their feelings or whatever, you know?
To kind of again play devil's advocate, because I'm just interested to see what you think. You raised an interesting point where you said, you know, it's important to let people be who they really think they are. And that something like, you know, a point like that can be easily skewed by people like bringing up examples of pedophiles or, you know, serial killers or rapists, because like I think the pedophile would argue that who they really are is because you are comparing sexual arousal, sexual interest, orientation.
Okay, but I would say with pedophilia it's completely different because they're children, not adults, right? With like homosexuality, like say if it's two gay men, like they're both adults, right? I feel like personally that's obviously I draw a line there, right? They are affecting someone because a child is not fully developed mentally, right? Sure, which is why it's wrong, right?
Okay, but then you'll have people that are gay that aren't adults, that are 15, 16, in their teens.
Yeah, but they're both children, so it's fine. It's not like an adult taking advantage of a child, right? Again, they're not harming each other because they're too, like...
So this is where consent comes in.
Yeah, consent, right? And it's like, morally, like, you draw the line at adulthood because before it, right, you're a child, you're not fully... There has to be a line, right? At a certain age. Obviously, people develop at different rates, but there has to be a line at a certain age, right?
Okay. Let's say that the child isn't, it's sort of led to believe that, it does give consent. But I guess like the easy argument to that is like, okay, they don't know what they're thinking yet, because they're a child. But you could easily say that about teenagers as well.
What, you mean like adult teenagers?
I mean, like, say 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Because you could easily say that they're not, your brain only stops developing by the age of like 25 or even 30.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, like, the law has to put a certain age, but like, I feel like, even if you're 18, you can definitely be taken advantage of as someone who's in their 30s, right? Who can manipulate you in a way that's like, I wouldn't say it's I don't know if you could compare it like to pedophilia, right? But like, you're definitely taking advantage of someone who's younger and maybe more vulnerable mentally and like economically, socially, depending on the situation, right? In a similar way, right?
Okay, so your point that you stand by is you should be allowed to be whatever you want as long as it doesn't harm other people.
In a sense, that's a very, very like that's a very basic way of it, right?
How would you put nuances to that?
Well, obviously, like, affecting other people means that, like, you can affect other people as long as they consent to it, right? And
yes, you can affect other people even if they consent to it negatively. I mean,
no, like, if they like, well, I mean, when you say negatively, that's like subjective, right? If they both think it's positive and they haven't been manipulated into it, right, it's fine.
Well, then it's getting like into a really subjective territory where you say if they both and they haven't been manipulated, and then we have to go.
Well, yeah, because it's incredibly situational, which is why I've given it a broad stroke, right? Like, there's obviously more nuances, but I'm saying like as a general rule, and I feel like common sense comes into it, right? Obviously, not everyone has common sense, but I'm saying like me personally, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like obviously we're both fairly
commonsensical.
Sensical. I mean, like, maybe not in some situations, but you know what I mean, right? Like, it's in the sense that, like, obviously, like, I'm not saying like we should tell everyone this is like this is the rule you follow, because there are more nuances to it, definitely, for sure. There's so number of situations, but I feel like, if you present me with a situation, like, I can explain how what I said comes into it, like, it still fits with it, right? And like you said, like, like, obviously they have to be adult. If it's obviously anything sexual, it has to be adults because of reasons like, explained and stuff, because you've not fully developed, etc. If you're taking advantage of someone, which of course is subjective, but like, like, I could go into my nuances of like what I think advantage is, right? But then we'd be here for ages, explaining everything.
I think this topic is really about like what is morally okay to do and what isn't.
Yes. But like, I feel like, like, barring manipulation and certain things, it's moral, again, if you're not harming anyone. And in terms of harming someone is in like doing something bad for their physical or mental health, or something they don't consent to, right?
Oh, okay.
Did you get what I mean?
What if you give someone drugs?
Give someone drugs. Personally, I feel like I draw a line between what drugs I consider like. I mean, like, drugs aren't good, right? But like, there's a line. I mean, I guess it's
Okay,
more
and we're
spectrum, but I feel
talking.
there's like a line between where like the drugs are like heroin and meth, cocaine, or whatever, where I'm like, maybe not. I mean, I guess cocaine is more popular, but like it's still bad, right? But it's like certain drugs where like there's like almost no situation in which I'd say that's morally okay, right? But if someone was like giving someone else like marijuana or alcohol, even like if they had a severe problem with it, right? You know, severe like alcoholism or something, obviously in that situation it'd be bad. But otherwise, like I guess I'd let it slide depending on how harmful the substance is, right?
Okay, this is probably a deeper discussion than we both want to get into later on. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind personally.
Is there? What do you think of? Is there any possibility that you know how you can have someone that's it's really easy to have someone that's too right leaning, right? Too conservative, where because they get easily labeled as like fascist or these alt-right stuff. Is there that sort of mirror on the other side of the spectrum where you can be too left-leaning?
100%, definitely.
In what
100%.
sense?
I mean, I feel like, I mean, personally, I don't like the ideas of communism, I guess, in a sense. I feel too far. I mean, I feel like it's a very idealistic worldview and like people genuinely wanting it. And like, again, I believe in social welfare and giving people equal opportunity, right? So healthcare, lots of things, right? In terms of like providing basic necessities to people who need them and stuff. And also taxing the rich, right? But I don't believe in 100% tax for the rich. That's too far, right? I'm saying left, right. That's too far, definitely. I feel like Marxism is a bit too far left. Or communism, right?
No, okay. Let me be a little bit clear, but I'm talking about left in the sense, mainly in the trait of liberalism, being liberal. Is there any way that you can be too liberal?
Yes. In the sense that, like, like, I guess if people, like, who would be like, oh, hey, we're accepting gay people, let's accept pedophiles. That's not okay. But I don't know necessarily know that's a liberal idea. That's just a stupid one that people would think is a liberal thing, I guess, maybe, And, like, again, look, what I said about certain things, there's definitely a limit to how far you should go on things like taxation and stuff. And like, again, I consider myself fairly left-leaning, but at university especially, right? I feel like all universities are this kind of echo chamber of people who like. I mean, I don't have much time for like the Conservative Party in the UK or whatever as well, and I'll joke about like, stuff, right? But like people who just go too far on everything. And like, obviously there are certain cases where these are true, but people saying like, always saying microaggressions or whatever, etc.
Yes.
There was one thing about, I don't know if you know who David Hume is. He's a philosopher.
Yeah.
He was born in Edinburgh, right? He went to University and
shout out.
He just did. Yeah, shout out. There's a building called David Hume Tower, right? And
is it humorous?
What? No, it's not a humorous building. It's quite ugly. It's very ugly. People have suggested like renaming it because in one of his papers he said something quite racist, right? I mean, I haven't looked too far into it. I might be wrong, right? I just want to say, but from what I've seen, like his views aren't. I'm not saying this excuses him, right? But his views aren't necessarily not in like line with what were the general views at the time. And another thing, he was against the slave trade.
Wait, like, sorry, say that again. So his views were not in line with the general views.
No, so his lines weren't necessarily against the general views at the time, right? I feel like it was like maybe suggesting people of color below like white people or whatever in a sense, which again is reprehensible or whatever. But by the day's standards, I wouldn't say that that's necessarily outlandish by the standards of 18th century, right? Yes. And he was also pro-abolition of slavery, And they suggested replacing it with, like, this was a petition. They're saying, like, let's replace him with the name of the first president of Tanzania, who went to Edinburgh University before he became the first president of Tanzania, right? And I looked it up, and it's like he held political prisoners without charge, and like he did a lot of good things in Tanzania, but like he was no saint himself, right? Yeah. He held political prisoners without charge. I looked up his view. Like he thought that like he didn't think there should be any laws to protect homosexuals in Africa because he thinks homosexuality wasn't an African problem at all. It was only a European one. And like, again, I'm not saying that like maybe his views aren't exactly out of line with what the people of Tanzania thought back then. But I'm saying you can't put him on a pedestal and say David Hume is terrible, right? I'm saying that's too far left to like look at someone you don't like that in that sense. You know what I mean?
The thing is like, what I don't like about things like this is it seems to come with the underlying implication that what we're doing is we're comparing people based on the general views of today's time, and slavery is a good example of that, because like if we obviously have a position that slavery is terrible and shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
And like to use that as like a measuring stick for everything in the past, and you're gonna call thousands of the most influential people in the world, like, you're just gonna like scratch them all off just because of this one moral thing that they didn't necessarily have in line with today's view?
I mean, like, I think it depends how far they go, right?
But
if they held a racist view, maybe. If they kept slaves, I would agree that like they should not be put on any pedestal at all, right?
But then, so you would keep like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin.
Did Abraham Lincoln keep slaves? I know George Washington and Benjamin Franklin did.
All right, maybe not Abe Lincoln, but like, okay, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, some of the greatest minds in the world.
Yeah, terrible people.
So you would just chalk them off all off like that?
I wouldn't say like. I would say they shouldn't be praised for sure, right? Like that praised American, like they should not be given this praise without giving an equal footing to they kept slaves, right? If they held a racist view, I would think that's bad, but like I feel like again, like there's a line, right? Like just like anything, right? Like, if they murdered somebody, it wouldn't absolve, like, their other good things wouldn't absolve them of their cold-blooded murder, right?
But then, again, I mean, you'll have lots of, like, presidents and leaders in the past that have done what people would consider murders as well.
Yeah, this is something I thought about a lot myself, right? Like, it's something I'm myself thinking, which way, like Winston Churchill, for example.
Yeah,
right?
That seems to be in the media.
That's a big one. And personally, I don't know where I stand, because obviously, like, he was a good wartime prime minister in that, like, he helped win the war. But at the same time, there's the whole, Bengali famine, right? And I feel like the sheer magnitude of that, maybe you really shouldn't be putting on a pedestal. And it's definitely not taught, right? This isn't something, I mean, like, I guess, I don't know if I learned about Winston Churchill much in school. Probably did, but, like, when we talk about Winston Churchill, it's not something people know, so people haven't been taught it, right? And people should definitely be taught. One way or another, millions of Bengalis starved because of Britain withholding food for the war effort. You could argue for the greater good, but like I feel like at the very least people should be educated.
Okay, so you have a problem with people kind of just automatically assuming everything is good about a certain person without the nuances that come with it.
Yeah, and I guess like in a sense, if you're gonna criticize a figure, don't put your own on pedestals and promote them if you know themselves or you haven't yourself educated yourself on them properly, and otherwise you would know that like they hold views that like even you find like that aren't, like they've done something that's bad as well, right? In a sense.
I think, then when you go down that path, like you will find something that everyone you will find that everyone has done something bad. It's like I would argue that there's no one person that's like that their slate is entirely clean.
Again, but like I said, I feel like it depends how bad what they did was, especially in accordance to the times, and as well. But like, it's like Lenin did a lot of good for Russia and stuff, right? He also did a lot of bad, and then in 2014 there was that whole thing in Ukraine where people were pulling down statues of Lenin. Did anyone in the West complain? No one said that's a bad. Oh, Lenin did lots of good things. Well, I feel like some people on the left might. And I think that'd be crazy because there's also, terrible many millions have suffered under communism for all its good benefits. I don't think it's a bad thing to pull down a statue of like a dictator, right? So,
Would you be happy if there were no statues made at all? Would you be content with that?
No, I mean, again, I guess your point stands that like everyone's done good or bad things. But like, I'd be happier if people were educated on it, and if people, I'd be happier if people were educated, and then as a like community or whatever, they make this decision: should we put these people on the pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't think we should be putting people who had slaves or whatever on and giving them any statue, right? Even if they, built a school or whatever in Birmingham.
Like they helped the economy.
Yes, if that economy is built upon the slave trade. But at the same time, I don't think like me today, like as a white person who's probably at least indirectly benefited from the slave trade, right, or colonialism, right. I don't think I should be apologetic for it because it's not my fault. Nothing I did affected it, right?
It's kind of is a nice segue into the BLM movement currently going on. I've heard from a couple of people that they feel a personal responsibility for it, and I would be interested to hear, in some sort of like distant way, by virtue of the fact that they happen to be white or they happen to be European. I'm interested to hear what you think of that, and your personal views.
People, okay. If you say you have a personal responsibility because you're combating, you feel like you should be responsible to end racism or whatever against people of colors, or you try and eliminate racism, that's fine, it makes sense. But people who have a personal responsibility because they're European or they're white, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because, like, in a sense, like, it's like the other side of the coin, and that, like, I thought we're trying to argue that, like, the color of your skin shouldn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that shouldn't be your motivation behind what you're doing. I mean, like,
that's a good point, actually.
I feel like, what certain white people did in the past was terrible, right? But it's not my fault. I nothing to do with me. I'm like no way responsible for that. How could I be, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no onus on me because they happen to be white and I happen to be white. There's no connection there, right?
What if someone says your ancestors were slave owners?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell them if that was true or not. I haven't looked down far enough my ancestors.
What if they were like, yeah, 100% true, it's true? How would you feel? Would that necessarily change the way you felt about it?
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, I feel like I would maybe, but at the same time, it's not my fault, right? I would denounce what my family members did. I'd be like, this is terrible. I feel ashamed to be related to them, right? And it's like, well, I guess the same thing about the white, but like, I guess it's closer to a family relation, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, and you feel more responsibility, right? Because it's a much closer relation than race, just general race, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the same sense, it's still not my fault or anything that I could have, like, anything that I affected, right? And like personally, I would say maybe I'd feel ashamed and apologetic for it, right? But if someone else said what they did was bad and I'm sorry they did that, but this has nothing to do with me, I'd be like, that's correct, right? They can't. The onus isn't on them to, like, I guess, make up for it.
Yeah.
Because why should they be given that burden when they could have easily? I mean, like it's just what they've been born into, right? They can't change that.
Yeah,
So why I feel like racial pride in any sense is okay. That's not true. I feel like racial pride in most senses is stupid and like racist in general.
Because
I feel
it's
like
not something anyone can control.
yes, I make an exception for the sense that like people feel racial pride in that like if they've been oppressed as a race, right, and they band together because of that, and they're saying we try and fight for a right, in that sense, right? That's fine.
Okay, but that's more of a justice.
That's more
thing.
like trying to justice. Yeah. That's fine, but in a sense that like you're proud simply because your skin is X color. That's stupid. No matter what, it's just that right alone.
I'm pretty sure you could be brown if you spend enough time in the sun.
Exactly. And it's like I'm not proud of being white. I'm not ashamed of being white. It is who I am, right? In that sense, it's not something I have control over. But it's not something that like makes. Well, obviously, it does make a difference, socio-economically, right? But it shouldn't make a difference, right? In my opinion, in the way things should be.
How about when people? How about people when people say it's like, I've heard this point. It's like you are benefiting from a society that, maybe systematically holds prejudice against, and I guess benefits people of your race. Does that strike any sort of chord with you? Like even though you don't realize it, and even though it's not a choice that you've made, you are still reaping the benefits of this society by virtue of the fact that you're in it.
Yes, to some extent, because obviously, like it's true, and like I guess a lot of people don't realize it because it's like a subconscious thing, right? And like they haven't seen the other side, so they don't know it, right? I feel like to some extent you should. I guess like the onus on you is to accept that, right? And I guess be in favor of changing it, right? Like I feel like it's fine to be motivated. Like that's a good motivator, right? And good thing to have to accept, right? Not just like that's completely separate from your ancestors being white and doing bad things to society as a whole might have a problem with white people benefiting or ex people benefiting, right? And I feel like, yes, I accept that, and I feel like this is a problem, right? Because, people of color, there should be, again, like I said, my point is people with the color of your skin shouldn't come into it. Nor should your gender, in my mind, or sexuality, right?
Okay.
So, yeah. What do you think? Do you think the same way? Or?
I don't know what I think.
No.
Okay, I want to change the topic slightly again. I mentioned at the start of this, like, you look a lot healthier, bro. Well, what have you been up to?
Well, I mean, like, I guess I lost weight.
Yeah, but you lost weight. It must have come as a result of doing something.
Well, I mean, like, went to the gym, I guess, a bit more often. I want to say, like, I put massive amount of effort into it, right? Just so, like, I changed my diet, I guess, a little bit. Just ate less.
Sorry to cut you off again. But, like, before, was there any sort of, like, turning point for you where you actually decided that I don't know. Don't let me put words in your mouth, but was there a turning point where you're like, you know what, maybe I need to think about my lifestyle and implement some changes?
Well, I mean, that happened in school. Like, I mean, like, I was...
Yeah, I noticed it in school.
Big in sixth form, right? But, like, it was better than it. Like, I wasn't a bowl. Right? Like, I started... I was already going to the gym or whatever, right? But I guess since I went to... Like, it's not really like a turning point. Just since I went to university, I thought, like, I'm feeding myself. I thought like, I'll just buy this instead of this or whatever. I'll eat less. I'm like, I'm fine doing that. I guess there was a point where I was like, okay, I'll drop weight. I mean, like, I'm even thinking about dropping more now, right? Actually, maybe a bit less now. But like, it's just like, I guess I'll eat less, right?
How much do you weigh now, if you don't mind me asking?
67.
Whoa, you're lighter than me, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, this morning I was 68. I don't know why I ballooned up, but that's just like, I could be water or whatever, right?
So
Yeah.
so there was not like really, not to say that it was dangerous or anything, but there was not like one point where you're like, oh, I gotta change. So it's more like
Yeah.
you just wanted constant improvement.
I guess. I mean, like, like to be fair, like, I guess I put some effort in until my first year at uni, right? And then like I realized when I went to Qatar, weighed myself, I dropped weight to like 75, 74-ish, right? And then I weighed myself at the start, like near the start of the year, and I was about the same weight. And I was just like, oh, I can lose some more. It's like I stopped putting the effort. So when it gets to winter time, I think I probably put on a bit because like it's cold and depressing.
I think it's an evolutionary thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, could be. I mean, like, I'll try and avoid that this year. It's just like kind of thing. Like, I'm less motivated to go to the gym when it's raining and 30-mile-per-hour wind outside. I don't want to walk through that because again, I hate the cold, right? And it's like, in general, I guess I felt like more tired during winter. It was really weird.
It could do with the sun as well.
Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, in general. And then I was like, and then I also it's not really like a convenient thing, I guess. But like, I got fairly sick. Maybe it was COVID.
Really?
I don't know. But like with like the flu, right? And like, I did drop like 1.5 kilos in like a week. So, yeah, that wasn't intentional though at all, right? That was just like illness. And then like after that, I was like, that wasn't a motivator. But I was like, okay, I mean, like if I just in general eat less now as well, right? So I'd done it before, but like I kind of slipped back a little bit, I guess, so I can lose some more, right?
Do you have any sort of target in mind? Like, you're taller than me, and you're lighter than me. I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the.
I mean, like I've still got like a belly, right? Like, so basically like my plan was like, okay, I'll start working on like. I basically been like kind of pushing cardio, basically only almost, right?
Join the club.
Yeah, right. So like I thought like I'm gonna shift to weights when I get to go back to the gym because I'd rather like get more tone muscle, right? Like it's not like I need to drop weight. It's like I need to at this point, right? Like my weight's healthy, but I've still got like a bit of a dad bod, a little bit, right? So it's like just work on my muscles, I guess. I don't know. Maybe obviously work on cardio as well, right?
But you have no specific goal in mind, like.
I mean, like it was like 65 before, but then like for the last few weeks I've just been kind of lazy over it. Well, I mean, I came to England. Like, I left like where I was at uni, like in Edinburgh, and I come to England or whatever, right? And like I was going on runs in Edinburgh, and I haven't been since I come here. I really should, right? But it's just like I'm not. See, part of the thing is I like to exercise before I eat.
Yeah.
So I eat dinner later. Because I get up late, my mum prepares dinner earlier, and it's like it's not like I need to ask her to not do that. It's I need to stop being lazy and run earlier or whatever. I still go for walks and stuff.
The secret is running in the morning. It just gets it out of the way for the whole day.
That's only good if you're getting up in the mornings.
Well,
my pattern is I got up earlier today. Like I woke up at 20 to 11, and that was the earliest I've woken up.
Wow, bro, that's like 5 hours past. Like I'm already awake for 5 hours before that.
When do you wake up?
In the UK it was around 6. But I would tend to sleep around 10:30, 11.
I probably fell asleep past 5 a.m. like this morning. Right? It's just it's a problem. It's a problem with me. Like well, it's not really a problem. Like I'm not. People say like, oh, you sleep in. Like it's like kind of a laziness thing, right? It's not really lazy because I'm getting the same amount of sleep, right? I'm just sleeping at a different time.
I mean,
like the social stigma. Like,
no, it's not even social stigma. There's like you're not evolutionary. You haven't evolved to sleep at that time as well. So there's some things in your brain that will not necessarily reap the benefits of sleep that we have been evolved to get. But anyway,
my body's sorry.
No, sorry, go on. I was gonna
say make a point. Just like last point with my sleep is like my body kind of naturally. I don't know why. I just tend to. I've always been even though my parents would force me to like go to bed as a kid, I always want to stay up later. My body just tends to sleep later, right?
Did that happen?
Like,
Have you ever been on a camping trip for multiple
yeah,
days? Did your body reset, or did you still find yourself sleeping in the AM?
it's been so long. I mean, like at school, like I would still be getting up at AM, right? And same thing at uni when I have uni. So I was going to say is that like I have 9 a.m.s. Last semester, thankfully, I got a break on 2 days. But before then, like every semester, I had 9 a.m.s every day, and I forced myself to get up for most of them. My problem is I'd still sleep late, no matter how hard I try, right? I get into this pattern of like even like when I try to shake it, I get into the pattern of like I feel most energetic in the hours of like the evening, right? Let's say like I feel most energetic like 8 p.m. to like 2 a.m. Like I have energy, right? And it's like no matter what I try and do, I can't avoid that. What I've tried to do.
Is there sort of like a regular meal you have during then or before then? Because that might,
No.
you know.
In fact, like I've basically stopped snacking after I've had dinner for the most part, right?
What time is dinner for you?
Right now here is 6. Actually, no, that's a lie. I do what I do here though is like I have dinner at 6, right? And then like I'll go for my walk, say like between 7:30 and 8, and I'll come back and I'll have like a snack like a yogurt and banana, and that's all I'll eat, right? And I'll be up for like another 6-7 hours, but I won't eat anything. I'll just drink water or whatever, right? Because I don't want to snack late, because I know it's bad. So
it's pretty extreme, actually. The fact that like you can't get to sleep until 4 or 5.
Well, I mean, like I went to the GP about it, and like they got a blood test done, and they didn't find any like iron deficiency or anything. I still think I might like not have enough iron or something up with me, right? It's not saying iron supplements, but
yeah. But the thing, it's like it would be interesting to see what happened. Like the reason I brought the tent thing is like when you like get away from everything, and you go camping, for example. Like for me personally, it seems like, and I think it's a common experience, that it seems like your body just gets tired and like in the night, and then you seem to wake up around the dawn. At least from my experience and what I've talked to people when I've talked to people.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, like I haven't been camping for like a long time though.
But also UK's timing, sun timings are like messed up. It's not regular.
but since uni ends though, I've basically for the most part been nocturnal most days. Some days actually no, that's not true. Like I've had patterns where like I've gone to bed earlier, got up a little bit earlier, right? But like where like I've basically like when I've gone to bed, it's getting light, and I'm like, well, I've been literally nocturnal, and like I've been awake the whole night, in a sense. Yeah. But again, it's not really a problem at the moment because I don't have anything time sensitive right now, other than that, like I do some programming work. But the thing is, like the people, like it's something a uni friend hooked me up with, right? The people are in America, so that. And they normally, if you ever have a meeting, it's after they have finished work at 5:30. So it's late for me anyway. So it makes sense that like I have to sleep later anyway, in a sense. Like even if I could push it back, right? Yeah. I still have meetings at like 10:30 at night, and that works well for me. So it's like there's nothing I have that I need to get up for, right?
So I've just realized that it's probably like it's 2:30 for you, right? So you've only. It's around 2:30. No, 3:30. Sure. So you've only been awake for a few hours.
No, again, this morning I woke up 20 to 11. Oh. You know, that's why I'm actually pretty tired because I've only had 5-6 hours of sleep. But it might be a good thing, so I might be able to doze off earlier tonight. You know, 2 a.m.
I wanted to ask you. Sorry. Yeah, I wanted to ask you. How is uni life in Scotland? I know a lot of this we've been talking about uni life in Scotland, but I guess like would you recommend it? Because like I'm currently trying to look for master's degrees somewhere cheap.
Yeah, I mean, personally, Edinburgh I think is great, right? The people there are great, I'd say, and like I mean I can't speak too much for other Scottish cities. I've been to Glasgow once, but not for long, right? Glasgow. I Edinburgh is great, and like from what I've heard, other places in Scotland are pretty good. It's a beautiful place. Like Edinburgh specifically, there's a thing called Arthur's Seat, which is like a mountain in the middle of the city.
Oh,
you can
I've
go
been
walk
there.
up.
I've been there. Yeah.
You can Arthur's Seat. Yeah, it's like after my first exam. Well, I only did 2. I was meant to have 3, but like they were like, for some reason they put my course on the list of courses where they're like, oh, if you get below your coursework grade in the exam, they'll take your coursework grade, right? And like as long with most people I talked to, got 100% of the coursework. So I was like, I won't sit the exam because there's no benefit to me studying this, and then because I will not get a better grade. Literally impossible, right?
That makes no sense.
I know. It's like, I remember one of the lecturers at the beginning spoke, they don't believe in exams, but they have to do them. So I feel like they did it on purpose. I don't know. But like, I'm happy. It's 100%. It helps me with grade.
Anyway, you're going.
Yeah. After my first exam, I just decided, I can go up and get that. Like within 30 minutes, I'm like up near the top, right? Okay, maybe not 30 minutes. Like I can get to the base of it in like 15 minutes from the flat. It's great. It's like it's really accessible, and it's a beautiful city. You can do most things you want to do. I think probably.
Wow. You can do most things you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like clubbing and stuff. I don't know if that would really be your forte.
You club?
On occasion.
That seems to be what people do in the UK. What is the appeal of it to you? Other than this?
I mean, when you're intoxicated, it's fun. It's not something I enjoy sober.
So there's a condition to it. You have to be intoxicated to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, like I have to be at least like I don't have to be drunk. Depends on the club. Some clubs I'll enjoy it if I'm not drunk, as long as I'm,
Some clubs, if the club isn't good enough, I'm gonna compensate by drinking more.
That's exactly it. See, the clubs like that are the ones with the cheap drinks. So,
okay.
I mean, but there's plenty to do. It's a beautiful city, I guess. The uni is good. From what I know, its ranking is more on the postgrad side than undergrad. So, that's Edinburgh specifically. The research is meant to be very good, apparently. Like in terms of computer science, the reason why it's high in computer science is because of the research it does. And like other subjects, I think tend to be the same. I'm a master's. Most masters, at least some of it's research based. I mean, yeah, I think you would enjoy it here. I mean, I've heard other Scottish unis are good as well, Aberdeen and such. In terms of cost, I mean, if you were from the EU, it'd be great, but
is the real thing. That's the real consideration.
I don't know how the international cost would weigh up to English unis.
It's usually slightly cheaper than English, but like
I can see that.
But yeah, all right, bro. I'm sorry to cut it short, but I think we've been speaking for like almost 2 hours, so I think it's probably a good time to wrap up. It hasn't felt like it, to be honest.
It hasn't. No, I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's nice to just sit down and finally catch up after a while. We haven't spoken for a long time.
For quite a while, yeah.
It's interesting to hear everything going on.
I wish I asked you more questions, actually, honestly.
Bro, it's fine. Maybe
I want to learn more about things you've done. So,
Season 2. Bro, this is gonna turn into the Joe Rogan podcast, right? There are no seasons in this.
It's just episodes, hundreds of episodes.
One thing that I've been thinking, how I do chemical engineering. I think I'm gonna do a master's in something else.
No. I remember you were saying. What were we saying in the group chat? I forgot. Some different type of engineering.
Oh, I might do. Well, did I mention something? No, but anyway, I might do something in psychology or neuroscience for my master's, which is a pretty big departure.
Do you want a job neuroscience more so than psychology?
What do you mean, sorry?
I mean like in terms of employability.
Neuroscience is better.
Neuroscience would be great. Psychology. I mean, I don't know. Like from what I've heard, psychology is. I'm not saying it's a bad degree, right? But in terms of employability, it's like one of the most oversaturated in terms of like it's very hard to get a job once you have like the degree compared to other degrees, right?
Are you talking about clinical psychologists or just generally having a psychology degree?
I feel like this is like degree in the field of psychology, like a job where you get employability in the field. Obviously, you don't have to be employed in the field of your degree.
Yeah.
I mean, like people put that as like a thing saying, oh, people don't get employed in the field of this degree for that much. It's good. You know, probably did physics and he's a software engineer, right? You don't have to be employed in the field. But like if you want to, what?
So he did physics and he's now a software engineer.
Yeah.
Did he already have background knowledge in software or no?
He did a little bit of Python in university, but not too much. Like I've definitely done tons more than he did, right?
How was that kind of journey for him? Was it like he had to go out and search for it, or did he directly apply to a company that was a software company, or what?
Yeah, he applied to a bunch, and he found one that's really good, right? He actually works in Edinburgh, conveniently, like just coincidence, right? Like I didn't pick Edinburgh because of that at all. He's like, "Did you pick it?" I'm like, "No, it's the best one I got into."
I don't care about you.
Exactly. No. No. His job's really good, and basically, like they just look for people with STEM degrees, right? And a lot of software jobs are like that. You don't need one to be a science, and a lot of them you do need experience. But this one, like basically, like he went through the length of the interview process, and they basically from the start training him, right? The first couple of weeks, he doesn't really do anything substantive that like helps the company. They're just training him. But basically, he's saying for the entire time, he's learning new things, right, through his job. Yeah. He's worked there for like 4 years now, and that's pretty cool.
Is he enjoying it?
Yeah, it's great. Like, I mean, like they do like lots of work socials and stuff, and he gets like lots of benefits. And he's happy because I mean, you get like share options, right? They picked up, and now the company got bought out by Microsoft, so he thinks he's going to make a good
dollar bills.
So yeah, I mean, it's a good field. I mean, I don't know if it's something you'd consider, but it's definitely like high demand for that field, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely like I'm open to it, but as in like I know how to communicate in it, and I know how to get my way around it, but like, I don't know the deep technical like programming knowledge and stuff.
You don't necessarily have to. If you've got a good enough background in maths.
Yeah.
If you've got a good background in maths, there are software jobs out, right? For people with STEM degrees that it's just like, computer science, maths, and physics are the big ones, but like they're saying like a STEM degree with maths background, like if you've done long maths, like you can apply and like and there's a lot of jobs and they tend to be pretty good. So yeah, your hair's gone a bit.
Bro, this is like I'm trying to grow my hair long. I don't really know how to do it.
Mine's really messy. My headphones kind of like bringing it back right now. I don't know.
Those are like,
see, it's a mess as well.
Those are like studio monitor headphones, aren't they?
They're nice.
All right. Anyway, bro, it's 2 hours. Probably a good time to wrap up. Yeah, Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's quite fun. We should like go back to
talk again. Yeah.
I will keep you in mind. It'll be. We should just like meet up in Ponderosa at one point again and chat.
If you're in Qatar, I mean, like, and I am definitely.
But do you go there like during Christmas and Easter as well?
Well, yes, actually. Well, not this Easter because I couldn't, but I was going to. I went last December was the last time. I went. Normally I go. Well, I've only been twice in winter time. Once was December, once because I was going to the Club World Cup. Liverpool. Yeah. Speaking
of which,
we didn't talk about the whole time.
Bruh, it's okay. It's okay. We both know we support the best team in the world.
Yeah. Screw you, Jakob. No. And then before I went in January, but like normally I try and go back winter and summer and Easter hopefully. I say normally, but like I haven't been back that many times. I haven't been in uni for that long, But yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I might go back in September, maybe, if I skip the start of uni and do it remotely, but I don't know. But
I might as well, because like I haven't seen my parents in a while.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I thought because like you can do it remotely. Sorry, you're trying to get on.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, bro, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care. See you soon.
See you later. Bye.